All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to International TEFL Academy live on Facebook. My name is Andrew. I am an admissions advisor here at ITA, also an ITA alum. I took my course here a few years ago and taught in South Korea. Now I work as an admissions advisor here, like I said. Joining us today is Camille Heiden from China. Well, she's not from China, but she's teaching in China. So we are going to talk to her about how life teaching in China is. So welcome, Camille.
Hi, am I on it?
Yeah, so I guess tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How did you get involved in all of this, and why China? Just kind of take it from the top.
I'm from Longmont, Colorado, and I went to school at the University of Wyoming. And I just graduated school last May, so I'm fresh out of college. I got a degree in business management, and last May I started kind of looking at jobs in Denver. I was like thinking of maybe using my degree to get a job, and then realized I really still wanted to go travel because I never got to teach abroad or study abroad in college. So I just looked up ways that I could travel and make money and live in another country still, and it looked like teaching was the best way to do so. So that's how I found ITA. And then originally I did not want to go to China. I thought that that'd be a little bit too far out of my comfort zone. So I was looking more into South America, and eventually just realized that I needed to be able to save money, and I really was interested in being able to travel to a lot of additional places besides just the one that I was teaching in. So it looked like China was going to be the best route for me. So I guess once I decided on China, I had the options between a couple cities in China to go to for the contract that I was going to sign. And Shenzhen looked like the best place because of the weather mostly. I'm used to having pretty cold winters in Wyoming, and I wanted to mix it up, be able to go to the beach, and have more of a tropical climate to live in. So that's how I picked Shenzhen.
Awesome. Wow, that is great info. And yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, teaching English is just a very practical way for people, regardless of your background, what degree you have, to get started working internationally. So, you're spot on there. It was a great move on your part. And now here you are.
Yeah.
Awesome. So getting into the TEFL class that you took, which course did you take?
I took the online course just because I wanted to not spend quite as much, and I was still working, going to school. I was an athlete in college, so I just had too much going on to be able to go pick up and take a course somewhere. And I actually really liked the online course. I still felt like it was just as helpful as being in person because of the practicum. So I did get a lot of hands-on experience as well.
Awesome. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, is having a lot going on in their life. They can't just pick up and go take a course for a month. So the flexibility of that online course is really nice for a lot of people too. So, and what was the most challenging part of the course did you find?
I think the most challenging was probably finding the place to do my practicum at. But just because Laramie, Wyoming is kind of a small town, not like a ton of places that I knew of that had ESL programs, but luckily my boyfriend's mom is a teacher, so she had connections at an elementary school there, and we could go sit in at the elementary school and watch the ESL teacher there and help her out. So I guess the hardest part was just finding that, but once it was found, it was pretty smooth. The online course itself was pretty straightforward. I felt like it was kind of just like a college online course, and I guess the practicum write-up was probably the hardest part, just because it was the most time-consuming.
Okay, cool. Well, it's always nice to have connections places, of course. That always helps. And yeah, the practicum is a really crucial part of the online course as well, to get that hands-on teaching experience. So that's great. And another thing to kind of piggyback on that is, how has this certification really helped you in the classroom?
Oh, well, I learned nothing about being a teacher in school, so if I just tried to come here with no prior knowledge, I think it would have been tough. And you do learn a lot from being at the job, just getting hands-on experience, but I think I would have been really afraid my first week going into it if I didn't have the course first. I think that I learned a lot about classroom management, which was helpful, And then the practicum was super helpful just because it gets those like first day jitters out. You've already kind of worked with kids, taught a little bit, and it's not quite such a foreign thing to have to go try to do it the first day.
Awesome. Great. Now we do have a quick question from one of our viewers here to kind of just switch it up a little bit. Have you had a chance to make it over to Hong Kong? I know you're sort of right there already. Have you had a chance to stop over there yet?
Yeah, I love Hong Kong. Ooh, I can see the comment. I go there a lot. I actually live, if I were to just take the metro to the border, I'm 2 stops away. So I can like see Hong Kong across from me. I'm very close. And I'll go there a lot on the weekend. I've gone when my family was here. We went for a couple days. So I absolutely love it there. And I will go as much as I can.
Awesome. And to kind of talk about that as well. So your family got a chance to come out and visit you there. I know when I was in Korea, I was there for a year and my family didn't come and see me. So
yeah,
they were anxious to come see you. I mean, how was that? Was it easy for them to get over there?
It was easier actually than they expected. I think that my mom thought it would be a little bit harder to get over here. The visa process is probably the most time consuming and kind of expensive, but I'm really lucky that my mom and sister got to come because I know that a lot of people's families don't get to, and they absolutely loved it. I was a little nervous just because they hadn't been to Asia either, and it is kind of a culture shock, but I think that like it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be. I thought that they'd be a little bit more shocked the first couple days, but they loved it the whole time, and they loved Hong Kong too.
Awesome. That's great. And I guess that kind of leads us, I mean, how did you choose Shenzhen, China? I mean, it's such a massive country. There's so many different big cities to go teach in. How did you end up choosing Shenzhen? And then in addition to that, how did you find a job there? Or how did you go about finding your position?
So I actually found my position, I guess, before I was really set on which city I would teach in. I narrowed down on China, and I knew I wanted to go to China and started just applying to, I sent out so many resumes just all over the board because I don't know. I just wasn't sure how easy it would be to get a job. So I looked them up on like Dave's ESL Cafe. I went on Craigslist. Like I was finding these jobs anywhere. And I was shocked at how many like replies I got back and almost instant job offers because I think they really need people over here. So eventually I interviewed with a lot of places and interviewed with the school that I'm working at now. And they are in 3 locations. So I could have gone to Beijing, Shanghai, or Shenzhen. And I don't know, between those, I just didn't really want to be up north where it's a little bit colder. I wanted the nice weather. And Shenzhen just looked like a cool city because of its location too. It's really close to like Thailand, Vietnam, Hong Kong. I thought I had a lot of travel opportunity.
Awesome. That's really cool. I mean, I know it's not a city that people have heard of probably a lot with all the big cities in China. Yeah. Like, how big is Shenzhen? I mean, compare it to like a U.S. city.
It's like, I think it's 12 million people. So it's one of like the biggest cities. It's humongous, but only 30 years ago, it was still a fishing village. So it's very rapidly increasing in size, and people call it the Silicon Valley of China because no one is really actually from here in China. They just come here for work since it's such a recently new city. So there's a lot of young people here who are trying to get their careers started, and a lot of people with a lot of money here. So all the rich people are living here.
Good, and I'm sure you're teaching their children how to speak English like an American.
Yes.
Well, cool. So describe your job a little bit. So the school that you work for, you touched on briefly. You know, what age group are you teaching? How old are the kids? You know, what are you getting paid? What are your hours? Kind of elaborate a little bit on what your sort of day-to-day life is like at school.
Okay, so I work for a company called Best Learning. It's a training center. So the kids go to it after their normal school hours and then on the weekends, kind of for English tutoring outside of what they can get at school. And I work Monday, not Tuesday. I work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I get 2 days off a week, not consecutive days. On the weekdays, I'm there at night. So I do 2 to 9. On the weekends, it's pretty much all day. I'm there from 8:30 to 6 because that's when the most kids can go. They're not in their normal school. And I work with a wide range of ages. The youngest kids I have are in the pre-K classes, and I have some 2.5-year-olds. And then the oldest kids that I have are in like a third grade level class. So they range anywhere from 8 to 10, depending on just their level. And I really like working with older kids because they already have that understanding of English and I can have a conversation. The younger kids are so cute, but sometimes you can just tell that maybe they don't know where they are, what's going on, why they have to go to school. So sometimes they don't really love it there, but I think they're cute, so it's okay.
Yeah, I know there's definitely a trade-off with the younger and older kids. I had a very similar experience in Korea as well. So, and in terms of, what you make, to kind of get into the numbers a little bit, what are you making each month? Are you able to save money? How are you paid? Do you get paid direct deposit? Are they giving you a check each month? I guess just elaborate a little bit on that as well.
Yeah, so I got like a little, I think it's just a prepaid debit card, and they reload it every month. And then I can use that money like with the card, or WeChat is a big app here that you pay with. So that's how I get paid. And then when I first got here, the starting salary is 10,000 RMB plus a 3,000 RMB housing allowance. And then there's a ton of bonuses that you can get. You get paid per teaching hour for how many classes you have, how many kids. There's like a lot of other things that add up. So when I first started and wasn't working a lot, I made around 16,000 RMB each month, and now I'll make around 22 each month, which is actually, it goes a really long way here, and I'm able to send about $1,000 US home every month and still travel and, I don't know, probably spend more than I need to while I'm here. So it worked out really well for me because I came here to be able to save.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that is one huge benefit for teaching in China, is that you do have the ability to save. Like you said, they're giving you that stipend for your housing. That is very common a lot, throughout China. So for all you people out there who are trying to, save money, maybe pay off some student loans, whatever it may be, China is a really good place to do that.
Yes.
Now, to talk about how you found your job a little bit, I know you talked about, you applied to a bunch of different places. Did ITA help you at all, or how did ITA's resources help you throughout your job search?
Yeah, I memorized those job search maps that shows you what your potential salary is, what the qualifications are that you need for each country. I looked at all of those so many times because I just could not decide where I wanted to go at first. I read all the alumni articles. I did as much research as I could because I just always like to know as much as I can before I make a decision, and I felt like there's so many resources that ITA gives you. So I used those a ton, and then I found out through the Facebook page that I'm in for China of a lot of job opportunities that I followed, and I met a girl that I work with now actually through that group who was super helpful. I actually don't remember which resource I used to get my specific job just because I applied to so many at once. I don't remember where I got each contact from, but yeah, but the ITA resources were super helpful in making my country decision, and then meeting all of the people before I came here too that kind of helped me ease into it.
Awesome. And for all you people out there as well, our alumni groups are a great way to sort of network with teachers around the world, really get a feel for what it's like on the ground in these different countries. So once you have enrolled in your course, you're able to join these different country-specific groups or general groups, and really, start reaching out to teachers around the world. It's an awesome network and an awesome resource for people to use when helping, make a decision for where they'd like to go. Now, jumping back to your apartment and your school. Now, you said they provided that stipend. Did they help you find a place to live, or were you kind of on your own there? How did that all work?
They don't hold your hand to find it necessarily. Some places will really help you and they'll set you up in an apartment, but they give you contacts for agents. And we have a head foreign teacher who went out and helped us find a place as well. So there is a lot of help that I got doing so, but I did also research a lot. Before I came here, I was looking at areas to live in, and I guess the agent in the end really did help because she just had exactly what I needed. I think she's worked with a lot of foreigners who have moved there, so she kind of knows what type of apartment people are looking for, and I just really wanted to be on the same metro line as my school. That was important to me, not to have a long commute. So I think that she just took that into account and ended up finding us a really good place.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that sounds easy enough.
Yeah.
So kind of to move on a little bit into a different topic here, your visa. I know this is something that's, a huge topic for people who want to go teach in Asia. Well, really around the world, no matter where you go, is this issue of having a visa. So tell us a little bit about what your visa process was like.
I came here on an L visa, so it's just the tourist visa. And applying for that, there's pretty specific paperwork that you had to fill out, and you had to pay. And I just used an agent who took it to the consulate for me. So it was pretty time consuming to get even just the tourist visa. So if people are planning to come on the Z visa or the working visa, I would definitely give it a couple months, to make sure that you get it in time. And I came on the L visa because I didn't think I qualified for the Z when I was first coming, just because you need a bachelor's degree and 2 years of work experience in that field. So I obviously hadn't been a teacher. I didn't have the experience. But after coming here, I've kind of realized that there's ways around it. And some people who don't necessarily have the teaching experience but do have a degree can still get a Z visa, which I wish I would have known a little bit before. But it's worked out fine for me. Some people are pretty nervous about coming just on a tourist visa. You do have to leave the country every 60 days on the one that I'm on. So I just go into Hong Kong. And I haven't personally had any issues doing it. I guess I could be deported, which is kind of scary, but I've never heard of people having issues. And a lot of the people who I work with have been here for over 2 years just on that same tourist visa. So I don't know, if people are kind of nervous because their school isn't offering them a Z visa or they don't qualify, I wouldn't let that be a huge deciding factor for not coming to China, because I guess it's worth the risk for me to be here. But if people do qualify for the Z visa, I would really push your school to try to get that for you, just because it gives you more security.
Awesome. That is fantastic advice for anyone who's wanting to go to China. I know a lot of times China seems like it's kind of all over the place. There's people from all different backgrounds who are teaching there and wanting to teach there. So I think that's really good advice for people who are looking into teaching in China who might not have those qualifications to get that Z visa. So that's really good advice. I appreciate that. So now to kind of get into some more fun questions. We've talked a lot about your course and how you found your job. You are in China with your boyfriend, is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about what that is like, kind of what your experience has been like, just sort of transitioning to life in China. And,
Actually, I really liked it, just because when we first got here, it kind of gave you someone to lean on and not have to go through all of the culture shock by yourself, because it was a big change for me. For some people who have maybe traveled in Asia before, I'm sure it would be fine, but I had only been to Mexico, so nothing crazy. And I think it really helped to have someone there to kind of talk through the culture shock with and get through that initial time with. And now it's great. Now that we're adjusted to it, it's just nice to have someone to go travel with, do things on the weekends, just always have someone there to do things with. We used to work together in the same school, which was really fun, but then he left to pursue private tutoring opportunities. So there's also in China a ton of opportunity to be just a private tutor once you kind of build up that networking base. And you can make a lot doing that and have to work a lot less hours. So that's always an opportunity for people also that now my boyfriend is doing.
And cool. And now is he able to still be on the same visa that you're on if he is doing only private tutoring?
Yeah, he is also just on the tourist visa, because technically if you're on that visa, you aren't supposed to be working at all. So if anyone asks, we're not working here, we just live here. But so I guess the L visa does give you some flexibility in that an employer can't really hold you to your contract or penalize you for leaving at any time, which worked out for him because he had to leave to go pursue other opportunities. So in a way, the L visa is a risk, but then you're also not tied down, or they don't have anything to use against you if you're trying to leave or if you have to go home suddenly. But the Z definitely gives you more security as well, just in knowing that you're allowed to work and that you're safe.
Awesome. Also fantastic advice. So now in terms of advice on couples traveling with each other? Is this something that you found to be easier? I guess kind of what are some pointers for all those people out there who are thinking about maybe doing this with, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, anyone?
Yeah. I'm sure it really just depends on the relationship, but we were like together a lot before. So I think, and we traveled together before. So I think that we kind of knew more how each other are when we travel. I think that travel puts a lot of stress on people in general. And then it's easy to like take it out on the other person when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling anxious about being in a new place. So I think you just have to know what to expect. Just know that maybe people are acting a little different because they're just anxious and nervous about being somewhere new. And it's like a big leap to take by yourself. To do with someone else, I think it really is nice to have someone there who's going through the exact same thing. But it can also add a little bit of stress just because then it's the stress of two people just brewing all the time instead of just one person dealing with it on their own.
Cool. Well, it seems like you have a very healthy way of going about everything and dealing with all that. So good for you guys. That's awesome. Now let's talk a little bit more about sort of China in general. Food. This is a huge topic for people wanting to go to China, whether they love it, hate it, is it weird, is it crazy? Tell us a little bit about the food in China.
I love it. I did, like, when I first got here, it's kind of hard to adjust to it. They use a lot of oils in their food that I'm not used to, and it's just, I don't know, it's just cooked differently, so it made me kind of sick at first, but now that I'm totally used to it, I love it. I'll like order as much Chinese food as I can. They have this little app that you get on your phone, kind of like Uber Eats or Postmates, but it's so cheap. It costs like less than $1 to have the food delivered. And these little guys on their bikes just ride, pick up your food. Even if you want McDonald's, they'll pick it up and then come deliver it. So I'm guilty of using that probably too much. There are a lot of Western food options as well, especially there's like two big foreigner areas, and I live near one. So I can go to like, I don't know, get a hamburger, or get pasta, or get whatever American food if I'm feeling unadventurous. But it is more expensive to eat Western food versus the Chinese. And I've actually found a lot of the street food, some of it I stay away from, like the pig's feet and the chicken feet, and the tails and the raw meat hanging out. Yeah. Maybe that's not my favorite, but a lot of the street food is really good. There's like little Chinese-looking pizzas that are really good. They have a lot of really spicy, like spicy noodles, spicy beef that's good. And you can get so much food. Like if I tried to budget myself, I could eat a meal for like $1 every time. It's so cheap. But it's all that Western food that really adds up because it's Western prices.
Right. No, yeah. And one thing for all you people out there who are wondering, can I get a burger if I go in China? Or what if I just really want some pizza? You can get it. Like, I know it's the same way in Korea, in China, they have Western food. So it's not like you're forced to eat Chinese food for every single meal. You can definitely get that comfort food if you're looking for it. You just might have to pay a couple extra dollars.
Yes.
Cool. Now, what is I'm going to put you on the spot here, your favorite food so far that you've eaten in China?
Oh, that's hard.
You could do a top 3 if it's too hard.
Okay, I might have to do a top 3. I'll do top 3 restaurants. Me and like all my coworkers, we go to this place probably once a week. We went last night. It's called, I don't know the Chinese name, but I know it has the numbers 6,000 in it. So we just call it 6,000 because that's the only part we can read. So we go there probably once a week. It has like the best, it's pretty spicy. There's like really good spicy potatoes, spicy meat. And then there's these little bread things. I don't even know how to explain them. Kind of like a beignet, I guess, almost, but like thicker dough. And you dip it in condensed milk. And I think that is like the best thing that I've had in my life. I could eat like a whole tray of those. Yeah. Those are amazing. And then in Hong Kong, actually, we go to this Indian restaurant that is like the best Indian food I've ever had. And it's like, it looks like the health standards probably are not in check. It's like in a little corner in the Checking Mansions, which is kind of a sketchy building anyway. And you just like sit in a little hole in the wall, but it is the best Indian food I've had in my life. So I would say those 2. And then that's really it, actually. Those are probably the 2 that I go to the most.
Cool. Awesome. And yeah, so for people, just to kind of give Hong Kong a shout out here, I know we've kind of talked about it a couple of times, but our other admissions advisor here, Tyler, who taught there, always talks about how the most international city you can go to. So the fact that some of your favorite food is Indian food in Hong Kong, it's not really a surprise there. So awesome.
I did, when my family was here, I did make them take us to Cheesecake Factory in Hong Kong just because it sounded so good. I'm like, wow, that sounds American. I need a big
little taste of home.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And to kind of go back a little bit, you talked about going out with your coworkers and your co-teachers. Are there a lot of other foreign teachers at your school? How did you meet them? Do you hang out with them a lot? How does that all work out?
Yeah, there's 10 foreign teachers at my school, and then there's like the Chinese teachers as well who I'm friends with. But the foreign teachers all kind of band together just because there's not as many, so everyone kind of hangs out with each other. And we do a lot. A lot of us will every weekend kind of decide what we're doing, especially because most people don't come here with someone else, so they're just here by themselves. So then it kind of makes you get really close with your coworkers because they're like the only ones that you have when you first get here. And it is really easy to meet other Westerners. Like I see a ton of foreign people whenever I walk around, especially in my area. But I think you just build that connection with your coworkers because you're with them all the time. They like know what you're dealing with. If you're not loving something at the school, like they're there to support you. And yeah, we do a lot together. I met one of my coworkers before coming through the China page who like commented on one of my posts and said, oh yeah, I teach in Shenzhen. And then I realized I was going to be at the exact same school as her. So she like helped me in the months before I came here. Her and another guy that I met through that page gave me a ton of advice, which was like super helpful. And I've become really close friends with her as well, just because I already kind of had that connection.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. I know for me as well. I mean, for all those people out there who are, worried about making friends when they get there or how they're going to meet people right off the bat, almost every school that you work at, whether it be China, Korea, other places in Asia, you're going to have some other foreign teachers at your school. Yeah. That's sort of that like initial support group that you're going to have to lean on when you get there, pretty much right off the bat. And then you also touched on the alumni groups as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you'll be able to meet people and make friends very, very quickly. Because I know that is a concern for people picking up and moving their life across the world to this new foreign country. So leaning on your co-teachers is a great way to get comfortable with the teaching and just life in a new country. So great. Now, you touched on it a bit, but are there some other ways that you have met some other expats, like through different Facebook groups or some other social activities? I mean, it was nice that you had someone already, but tell me a little bit about how you were able to meet some other people.
Yeah, definitely. There's so WeChat is like the big messaging app. It's like everything in China. It does like your food ordering, you can pay with it, you can contact people. So when I got here, just through like the people I met at work, they added me to a lot of WeChat groups, like specifically for foreigners. So there's one group that sets up like meetup events. There's one that tells you like which restaurants are really good in town. There's one that is like just for girls that tells you if you like want to get your hair done or something, where to go. So there's like a group for everything, and it's crazy how many foreigners are in each of these groups. So I've met a lot of people through that. And then we just had the first ITA alumni meetup here, which was awesome. And I got to meet a lot of other people. A lot of people who had just moved here like a month ago came, which was great to be able to meet people who were just getting settled in here as well.
Awesome. So yeah, just, one more time for all those people who are worried about meeting people, there are so many ways to meet people when you go abroad, make friends. You're with a lot of other like-minded foreigners as well who are, taking this leap of faith and going abroad to teach English. So I think you'll find that you can make these connections with people, really quickly because you are all sort of in the same position, which is really
right.
Nice.
Everyone's in the same boat, and I think everyone is super willing to help each other because they like know exactly what it was like when you first get here, and they want to be able to share those resources that they figured out how to use. Like, oh, I know how to do this now. Like, I know how to do this. I'll add you to this group. People are very quick to help you out just because I think there's so few of us here, and it's such a big jump to make from coming from America or Canada or wherever you're from. It's very different, and people understand that you're going through something that's a little bit hard for you, and they're very quick to help you out. Everyone's really friendly here.
That's awesome. That's great. So have you learned any Mandarin? Can you write it in? Have kids taught you how to say some bad words? I mean, what kind of Mandarin have you learned since you've been there?
The important things, yes, I've learned a little bit. I think, if I like really tried to study and tried to learn it, I would definitely know more. But it's crazy how much you can just pick up on from being somewhere. I thought Mandarin seemed like the hardest, craziest language like on earth to learn, but it's really not as hard as I expected. The sentence structure is pretty easy. It's just like pronouncing each tone and each syllable correctly that's hard for me. Right. So I've learned the essentials. I know how to order food, tell a cab where I'm going, have a small conversation, but it's like the second that you say one thing in Mandarin to a Chinese person, they think you're fluent and they'll start like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know. I always say, I don't understand. But you could learn more. I have a friend who like really studies Mandarin and really like wants to be able to be fluent, and he's been here a little bit longer than me, but he definitely knows a lot more. So you can push yourself and learn a lot more. Cool.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience in Korea as well. You can learn this, I call it survival Korean or survival Mandarin. I mean, like you said, take a taxi home, order some food or some beers at a restaurant. You learn that stuff real quick, and you really got to study and practice if you want to get much further.
Oh yeah, and I don't think I'll ever be able to read the characters, write them. That you'd really have to study and practice. But speaking, you can pick up on a lot just from being here.
Cool. Awesome. So now this is kind of a general, broad question, but I'm going to kind of leave it up to your interpretation. But what is the most interesting thing that you've learned, whether it's like a cultural thing about, a difference between, Eastern culture and Western culture, or, something about your work environment? But what's the most, or one thing that stands out that you've sort of learned in your first 6 months teaching in China?
Oh, God. I don't know. That's kind of hard. I guess. Oh, the one thing, I learned a lot. I don't know much.
I can narrow it down for you a bit. What's something that's so different than America, or what is one thing like I said, it can be at work, it can be just like traffic lights, whatever it may be. What is I
would say
different?
The hygiene is a little bit different. I don't know that I've like really learned anything from this, but I didn't expect it coming in. There's just a lot like more, I don't know, and not even in a bad way. It's just a cultural difference that you have to get used to. There's just a lot more like spitting, people just like peeing anywhere, like just kind of a general like harshness and not really caring about bodily functions or like being rude that I like kind of knew about China, but I was like, oh, I'm living in like a pretty new modern city. Like I probably won't see kids peeing in the street, but you see it everywhere. Like people do not care. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Like that has probably been, I don't know, the biggest like cultural thing that I've learned about here that I've had to adapt to. And then obviously at work, I've learned a lot about teaching. I didn't know anything about it before, and I feel like I've really learned, like I've had the cram course in teaching. I've learned a lot about how to be a good teacher, working with different age levels, and I don't know, just being a teacher.
No, that's great. And I think that's, something that you'll run into living in a different country, just the way they take care of themselves. Normal customs, out in public can vary, country to country. So that is a funny little anecdote that you had there. Now, kind of moving along a bit, what is some advice that you would have for someone who is wanting to, one, just teach abroad in general, and two, for someone who is considering a move to China?
I think teaching abroad in general, I feel like everyone should do it. I think it's been such a good experience. It's a cool experience to get to be a teacher, even if that's not what you think you'll do for the rest of your life, just because it does teach you a lot of life skills, like how to be patient, how to work with different types of people, how to present information to people, especially people who don't speak English already. It's a little bit harder to present information to them, and you can learn better ways to do that. So I think like you should definitely do it just for the teaching opportunity to try to better yourself in that aspect. And then, yeah, I think it's so important to just travel and live abroad. I think it's different to be somewhere for like 6 months, a year, 10 years, whatever, as opposed to just going there for a week. You really get to know like the culture. You get to know more of like what the local people do. You get to learn the language, which I think are just huge life skills that can help you. And then China specifically, I think like for me, before I came here, it seems like just such a big leap. And I didn't know a ton about what it would be like in China before I came here. I just kind of took a blind leap. I definitely thought, I don't know, I thought I couldn't get like the same shampoo I use at home. I thought I wouldn't be able to like go shopping, buy anything. I thought I couldn't get the food I like. But I think it's really comforting to know that if you're thinking of coming to China, there's like every Western thing that you could ever need. There's like every mall has all the American stores, all the food. You can definitely get Western food. And there's like a huge community too of expats who are here to help you. So I just think for anyone thinking of China, maybe it does seem like a big jump and maybe you want to go somewhere that's a little bit closer to home, a little bit more like the West. But I think it's a really cool opportunity to try to push yourself and experience a culture that's completely different while still being able to get those things that make you feel like you're at home.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic advice. I can second all of that. Now to jump into some of the questions from some people who are viewing us. Now, you said you work with children, mostly young children. Are there opportunities to work with adults in China? Is this something that maybe you have friends that are doing, or what have you encountered since you've been there in terms of, teaching adults versus teaching children?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of the like training centers like that I'm at, there's some that are focused only on adults. So you could teach at one of those, and that's like more of a salaried job. And then I would say through like tutoring, a lot of people post that they need tutors, and they can be adults or kids. So I think that if you want to come here and tutor or work at like a private school area, there's a lot of opportunity. And then there is opportunity as well, especially in Shenzhen, for teaching business English. My boyfriend just started doing this. There's a ton of like new businesses here, growing businesses, and they want their employees to be able to interact with people in the West. So they're all trying to learn more like business vocabulary in their English. They might already speak English, but just want to know more American customs, like how to negotiate with people in the West, how to greet them, how to send an email. So I know that there's a big opportunity for that as well. And right now, I would say the businesses, especially Shenzhen, are probably the biggest opportunity just because there's so many up and coming businesses here.
Cool. Yeah, and that's sort of a piece of advice I think for people teaching, anywhere in the world, but now, in China as well, is the opportunities for private tutoring. If you want to make extra money or you want to, meet some local people, private tutoring is a great way to do that, whether it's someone's children, business professionals, whatever it may be. If you have a certain expertise in a certain language, you can always market that as well. So another great way to not only make extra money, but to meet some people as well.
Yeah.
Now, to talk about the weather, I know you touched on it a bit in Shenzhen. It's a little bit warmer. Yeah. What about the air quality? I know some people coming over to China worry about air pollution and things like that. Have you found that to be something you notice, or is it just exaggerated a bit, or kind of talk about that?
I think, the first week I was here, I had my training in Beijing, and I definitely noticed it there. Like some days you can see this mountain right outside of our hotels. It was pretty close. And some days you could not see like past the window in front of you. So in Beijing, I definitely noticed that there was the pollution. And that's another factor of why we chose to come to Shenzhen, just because it's closer to the ocean. It's a little bit newer of a city. And in general, it's less polluted. There still are some days where it gets a little high, and it hasn't like affected how I breathe, or I haven't felt sick because of it, but you can definitely see kind of a smog in the air. So some days aren't quite as beautiful as you'd like, but for me at least, I'm not like super sensitive to anything like in the air. So I think it hasn't been an issue. For people who might have allergies or a little bit more sensitive, I think Shenzhen is definitely a better place to live in than some of like the northern cities, especially where it gets cold, it like traps the pollution in. And then maybe look into more rural areas as well, where there's not all the big factories just pumping out pollution all day. Because I know that there are opportunities in more rural China as well if you want good air quality.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Camille, this has been amazing. I think all the advice that you've given has been phenomenal. We're going to kind of slowly wrap this up with one more sort of question about why you wanted to be an ITA Alumni Ambassador. So just quickly, our Alumni Ambassadors are graduates from our school who are now living abroad and working abroad and who have, I guess, volunteered to provide more content for us and really give us an insight as to what their lives like and what teaching is like in wherever they are. So you have volunteered to be a social media, or I shouldn't say volunteered, have been chosen to be a social media ambassador for us here at ITA. So I guess explain a little bit about why you decided to do that, and what you sort of look forward to, and why you want to sort of help other people doing this by being an ambassador.
Yeah, definitely. I think like before coming here, I don't know if I would have picked China, and I don't know if I would have felt as comfortable coming to China as I did if I didn't have all the alumni support. So I think that was something that was intriguing to me. I wanted to kind of have people be able to know that they can come to me if they have any questions about moving to China, any questions about like getting settled in Shenzhen specifically. If they already live here, I wanted people to know that they have a friend that is like there to help them if they're just starting out. So I thought that was a really cool opportunity just to kind of pay it forward from all of the help that I had received. I wanted to be able to pass that knowledge on and help out other people coming here. And I guess I'm most looking forward to just meeting more people who live here. It was really cool to like meet more people around me who I didn't even know were living here that also are ITA alum. That was cool. And it's also cool, I get messages from people like asking questions about China, which I completely welcome. I think it's so cool that people come to me and can feel comfortable asking like the real questions that might be kind of tough to ask other people. So if anyone has questions about China, even if they're maybe not so glamorous, I'm okay with answering them. And I just am really excited to be able to help out anyone in making this big jump in the same way that people helped me out before I came.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure everyone appreciates all the help that you are giving them. Here at ITA, we've all done this before. We've been in your shoes. For all of you who are thinking about doing this, using your alumni and talking to people who've done this before and can really offer their advice. Like I said, we've been in your shoes. We know how overwhelming it can be in the beginning, sort of making that leap. But I think as you talk to your advisors and all the alumni through the groups and our ambassadors, you realize that it really is an incredible opportunity and something that everyone would encourage you to do and make that leap, because it's just such a great opportunity. So again, thank you, Camille. This has been fantastic. You've provided some great insight for us. We're so happy to have you on board as an ambassador. And we look forward to, following your journey for the rest of your time in China and beyond. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We hope you found it helpful. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, everybody.